Good morning, this is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Juba has called on the government to reduce the work permit fees imposed on Sudanese professors teaching at the institution. The Germany Deputy Chief of Mission in South Sudan has warned that the Horn of Africa is one of the busiest and riskiest migration corridors in the world. And the Democratic Republic of Congo has filed criminal complaints in France and Belgium against subsidiaries of the tech giant Apple, accusing it of using conflict materials. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Lasuba Memo, and now the news in detail. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Juba has called on the government to reduce work permit fees imposed on Sudanese professors teaching at the institution. He's speaking at the annual Inter-Ministerial Summit on Migration Governance in Juba yesterday. Dr. Robert Mayom revealed that the university has currently employed 89 Sudanese professors and enrolled 800 Sudanese students. Professor Mayom highlighted the financial burden of paying $1,000 annually by the Sudanese professors in visa fees and urged the government to intervene. Meanwhile, the Minister of Labor noted that the war in Sudan has led to an influx of skilled professionals, particularly in the medical field, into South Sudan. James Hothmai emphasized the positive impact of having these experts in the country. The German Deputy Chief of Mission in South Sudan has warned that the Horn of Africa is one of the busiest and riskiest migration corridors in the world. Dr. Bijon Niore made this remark during the annual Interministerial Summit on Migration Governance in South Sudan 2024 yesterday in Juba. The event was part of the regional Better Migration Management Program, which was established in 2016 by the European Union and Germany to respond to the challenge of 19 million people on the move in the Horn of Africa. The German diplomat said the Horn of Africa is also highly vulnerable to dramatic effects of climate change on populations in the region. Dr. Nyeri added that the 900,000 people who arrived into South Sudan from Sudan underlines the need for support for better migration management in the country. The South Sudan Football Association has announced the addition of 11 FIFA international referees, including 3 women, to its roster. The center referees are Malongring Nyer, Anthony Kiri, Emmanuel Solomon Okwera Lino, Emmanuel Ako, Emmanuel and Stella Sebin Matthew. And the assistant referees include Gassi Modir Deia, Dowoki Robert Henry Daniel, Dao, Nelson Beno Samuel, Jane Charles Ladu, and Josephine Martin Bangu. The announcement was made by the SSFA Referees Committee, chaired by Januar Fraser, alongside Referees Department Manager Mr. Debol Paul, and in the presence of SSFA Secretary General Mr. Victor Lawrence Lowell. The referees were officially recognized for successfully passing FIFA's mandatory fitness test, a rigorous process that demonstrated their readiness to officiate at the highest levels of international football. The SSFA extended its heartfelt congratulations to the newly certified referees, praising their hard work and perseverance in reaching this milestone. The association encouraged the referees to continue to represent South Sudan with pride and excellence on the global stage. This is iRadio Morning News, and now to the international scene. The Democratic Republic of Congo has filed criminal complaints in France and Belgium against subsidiaries of the tech giant Apple, accusing it of using conflict minerals. Acting on behalf of the Congolese government, lawyers have argued that Apple is complicit in crimes committed by armed groups that control some of the mines in the east of DR Congo. Apple has said it strongly disputes the claims and that it is deeply committed to responsible sourcing of minerals. The authorities in France and Belgium will now look at whether there is enough evidence to take the legal action further. In a statement, the lawyers of the DR Congo talked about Apple's supply chain being contaminated with blood minerals. They allege that the tin, tantalum, and tungsten is taken from conflict areas and then laundered through international supply chains. At least 34 people have died following one of the most intense storms ever recorded in northern Mozambique. The country's National Institute of Risk and Disaster Management has said Cyclone Chido made landfall in Mozambique on Sunday after wreaking havoc in the Indian Ocean territory of Mayotte. Hundreds are feared dead in Mayotte, a France overseas region, and several people, including more than 200 Red Cross volunteers, are thought to be missing. The National Institute of Risk and Disaster Management has called the institution in Mozambique heartbreaking and warned that the death toll is likely to rise. More than 34,000 Mozambican families have lost their homes to Chido, which brought winds of around 260 kilometers per hour. Schools, health facilities, and fishing boats were also destroyed. This is iRadio Morning News. To end this bulletin, here's a recap of the headlines. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Juba is called on the government to reduce the work permit fees imposed on Sudanese professors teaching at the institution. The German Deputy Chief of Mission in South Sudan has warned the Horn of Africa is one of the busiest and riskiest migration corridors in the world. And the Democratic Republic of Congo has filed criminal complaints in France and Belgium against subsidiaries of the tech giant Apple, accusing it of using conflict minerals. That's the end of iRadio Morning News. If there is a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message at +1 1925 287 It's also a WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at the top of the hour. I am Lasuba Memo. Thank you for listening.